Good morning. It's your boy Sultan here. Just ran across this thread on Facebook. I went for dinner with my BBC friend at Jap restaurant. As we all know, majority Chinese waitress. Anyway, as we do just speak English. The waitress, who spoke minimal English, she asked us, where were we from? So, as I'm born in the UK, I said UK, but parents from Hong Kong. She questioned why I said I was from UK. Then went on to ask if I spoke Mandarin. Then she spoke and praised my Mandarin and said I should speak more. I told her my friends are Canto and white, so I don't really need it. She then gave me a lecture that how I should speak Mandarin. Felt like she was judging me because I was BBC. Just because we are BBC doesn't mean we don't know how to speak Chinese and know our culture. I felt like saying to her that as she's in England, she should speak more English, but I don't want to be rude. Kind of ruined my meal there. Any of you guys faced something like this? First of all, this English is terrible. Punctuation errors all over the place. But instead of me being a grammar Nazi, let me just address this. My opinion, not anyone else's, my opinion is if you are Chinese, you should attempt to speak Chinese. If you are Japanese, you should attempt to speak Japanese. If you're Korean, you should attempt to speak Korean. And that goes pretty much down the line through any race. Any country, okay? Why? Because that's part of your heritage. And it's part of your identity. So here I'm going to read some replies. Nope. Just sounds like you are insecure, making a big deal out of nothing. Could be. Then the OP replies, maybe, but I didn't reply. She just continued talking about Mandarin for 20 minutes and how kids who are born here just don't speak. 5 minutes is fine, but 20, God help me. It's just a rant thing, right? I mean, I rant on YouTube. This person's ranting. That's fair enough. Then someone asks, do you think the next generation will speak any Chinese at all? Okay. OP replies, yep, I think they will. A lot of my friends' kids only speak Chinese, Canto and Hakka. From my experience, the people around me understand the importance. For me, at this situation, I speak English, but I use my Chinese daily when talking to my best friend and family. This topic is debatable. It all depends on how you bring up your kids in the future. Could I just point out that in England, white kids are taking exams in Mandarin in school now. They are trying to get ahead of us, and we ourselves are letting ourselves down by not trying to embrace our own language. Think about that for a moment. And there's another long rant, which doesn't really matter. Let's read anyway. For me, I don't think the next generation would speak Chinese. Interesting. Being a BBC myself, obviously I was brought up to speak Cantonese, but when it's time to go to school, you learn English. The English language would soon take over with the constant use in daily life. When it comes to me having kids, the amount of children that I'm going to teach my children, the amount of Chinese that I'm going to teach them is going to be very limited, as my first language is going to be English, although I speak Canto too. I have witnessed this firsthand with my cousin's children. They used to speak Chinese, but since going to school, they mainly speak English now. He even told his mum, my cousin, that he doesn't like going to his grandparents' house, my uncle and auntie, as he doesn't understand them, and as they speak to him in Chinese. Very sad, really. I do get scared for the next generation. Chinese school is there for a reason. Okay, it's 1 day a week. Sometimes it's just for 1 hour for that whole week. And you can't sacrifice that for your future generation. I don't have kids myself. I'm not married. But for the future generation to skip out on learning part of their heritage, think about that. Think how they will be discriminated in the future. And it's going to perpetuate. If you were discriminated for not learning Chinese or speaking Chinese when you were in school, then your children will do too if you don't do something about it. Now you are the parent. You need to be a parent and put your child through Chinese school. Maybe you went to Chinese school and you didn't like it and then you quit when you were 18. But at least you know something about Chinese. And whether you want to pick it up again as an adult, I think you should, because again, that's part of your heritage. And that's something that separates you from just being British. Okay. And this is the last reply. Can't be bothered to read the rest. I once did think BBC, who can't speak Cantonese or Mandarin, are like such a banana. Yellow skin, but white inside. But I guess not everyone had the chance to learn it. Mainly parents didn't have time to take these kids to Chinese school, or due to work, don't spend time with he or her children. But I just want to say this. If someone really wants to learn to speak Chinese, it's never too late. But those who think Chinese is not important to learn, is up to he or her. Everyone's view is different. Again, the English in this is just a bit. Yes, it is your choice. However, I feel as a parent, you need to make choices for your children. That's been the way for your parents when you were a child. When you were growing up, they made choices for you because you didn't know any better and you didn't have any world experiences. So they were doing the best thing for you at the time. Now you may be in the position as a parent now and think, oh, I went through such painful times going to Chinese school when I was a child. I don't want that for my current child. Reconsider. Because if that perpetuates and English parents themselves are sending their English children to Chinese school, think how ironic that is for a beginning. And how they will get ahead of us in our own language. How silly does that sound? So, if you're an adult out there saying you don't have the time, make the time. 1 hour a week, or maybe even 2 hours a week, is nothing. Absolutely nothing. And if you want to find a language partner, find a language partner. There's plenty of websites for that. If you want to learn from home, Skype. There's even apps these days. Is it going to be a learning curve? Yes. If you've never done something before, of course. I've never done rocket science before. However, if I was to undertake it, the first 100 hours would be a slog. Same goes for any language that you undertake. I'm not just talking about Mandarin, I'm talking about Japanese, Korean, Czech, Russian, Portuguese, anything, not even languages, just anything that you undertake. You have to have an underlying reason why you want to pursue that particular skill, why you want to attach that to yourself. For learning Chinese, being Chinese, granted, that's not a good enough reason. Just think to yourself, do I want to be embarrassed for the rest of my life not being able to speak the language of my people? If the answer is yes, then you're a coward and you're afraid of failure. And that is just ridiculous. Because all the greats know that failure is just part of the bumps of the road on your way to your goal. I don't want to say success here, because success is different for everyone. But on the way to your goal. The goal here is to learn Chinese, be it Mandarin or Cantonese. There's schools that you can go to. There's night schools. There's private tuition. There's language exchange partners. There's Skype. There's apps. You can watch dramas. You can type into Google, how can I learn Chinese? Mandarin, how can I learn Cantonese? If you don't know, you can ask people. You can ask scholars. You can ask linguists. So don't tell me that you don't know what to do. It's just that you feel what you're feeling now and you don't want to step up and get out of that hole. You're comfortable in that hole, and that sucks. As a human being, we have limited time on this earth. And we should strive to be the best version of ourselves. I'll end there. Peace out.